that's the Shinola on that. What did you do this weekend?
Went to buffets all weekend.
That's such a
thoroughly
coincidence.
enjoyed it.
Jeez, this is why this podcast is so good, is because you're the complete opposite of me. We get two different perspectives.
No, I didn't go to a single buffet.
Oh, okay. You just said that you moved distributors or something?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
Well, I was initially I had a place that would sell, like I would sell my work online and then they would ship it for me. Mm-hmm. And they were doing that since September, and then at the beginning of the new year they said they can't do it anymore. And it turned out it was because the people that worked at the distribution center were so upset by my artwork that they couldn't handle it. They didn't want to look at it anymore. So they said, we're not going to ship your artwork anymore. So I was like, okay. And they still were going to ship my books, but I was kind of like, I don't want to work with these people if they're, I mean, it doesn't even make any sense what they're doing. And I didn't feel like I could trust them anymore. So I just pulled everything out and I took them to a different place. So they're going to be shipped from a different location where people are not pussies.
Pussies. That's fucking upsetting. Some fucking.
It is. I'm still reeling from it.
Yeah.
Like in the way that you are upset by buffets, I hate this. This is really troubling me.
That's right. What we're talking about. Well, you know what we should probably get out of the way is that we've been meaning to talk about Longlegs for a while.
Okay.
Because both of us saw Longlegs and were like absolutely just blown away by it. One of the most striking films of 2024. And it's high time that we finally give Longlegs its due. So why don't you go ahead and start us off on Longlegs, Johnny?
Yeah, it's I kind of like, when I saw it advertised, and I always have that sort of, especially about new stuff, I have a knee-jerk reaction of this is a ripoff of something better. But then, gradually you hear, like, the movie's popular and you hear people that liking it, enjoying it. You hear people talking about it, and then curiosity gradually overcomes that feeling of
cynicism.
Just cynicism and disgust. And so I finally was like, all right, let me watch this. Let me give it a shot. And it was probably even worse than I thought it was going to be. Like, I feel like I kind of went into it with, I don't think I went into it like with feeling cynical, like feeling like, okay, let's see what this movie's got. But I definitely went in thinking like, okay, let me give it a shot and see how it is. And I feel like it kind of starts going off the rails. Like after about like 20 minutes, it starts to feel like there's something off here. It's sort of like a really shitty sort of combination of Silence of the Lambs, and there's a lot of Seven in here as well. Mm-hmm. And it just is, it's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. There's like some kind of like, there's this, the killer who's played by, they don't kind of let on that it's Nicolas Cage. I think by now everybody knows it's Nicolas Cage, but
what are you talking about? Everybody knows that. Oh, are you joking?
Huh?
Are you joking?
Well, he's not like when the movie came out, he's not like in the trailer. His name isn't on the, like, his name isn't like prominently displayed in the advertising. It was sort of like the way that Kevin Spacey is in Seven. He's not like, prominently, like he wasn't prominently part of the advertising campaign for Seven because they wanted to keep that somewhat secret. And even in the film, like they don't reveal him until like an hour into the movie. Like they I
went into that movie like knowing full well that it was Nicolas Cage playing the titular Longlegs.
But I mean, I feel like you're the type of person who like you kind of like are prowling the internet, looking for information on films that you see like before you watch them. I feel like if you're just a casual movie watcher, like I had no idea Nicolas Cage was in the film for like, I don't know, the first 3 months that the movie was out. I didn't really know anything about it. And I wasn't investigating it either.
And I'm sure like in Los Angeles where it had a very heavy and kind of obnoxious marketing campaign.
Yeah, there were billboards at bus stops everywhere. You'd see it. And there was nothing that said, starring Nicolas Cage. So he was kind of down, like he was very downplayed. Like that wasn't out in the world, like known. They tried to kind of keep that somewhat. I'm not saying it was a complete secret, but they tried to like not make that a big deal. And his makeup is retarded. He looks ridiculous. Like I was expecting like him to look like some kind of like creepy like Marilyn Manson looking freak. But he just looked like he looked like he had like a bunch of dumb makeup on his face.
Yeah.
Like it was just a really bad makeup job. And his plan, whatever his like weird plan is, like I couldn't even really figure it out. Like killing, like it was like this whole elaborate thing where he was like killing people on a certain day of the month. And he was like delivering these life-size dolls with weird magical spheres in their heads that would cause the family to like kill each other. Mm-hmm. Like his plan wasn't he as a villain, as a serial killer was just stupid. He looked stupid. His plan was stupid. The reason that he was killing people didn't even make sense to me. Maybe I'm stupid because I couldn't figure it out. And then to top it off, one of the stupidest things is the fact that like the sort of Clarice Starling of the movie that is played by the girl from It
Michelle
Follows, Mishka
Pfeiffer.
Barton, and Mariska Hargitay.
Yeah, it's Barishna Hargitay actually who's in the film.
And so like she's got psychic powers that's sort of revealed at the beginning of the movie. She has like some kind of psychic abilities, but for whatever reason, her psychic abilities don't tell her that not only does the killer live in her mother's basement and has been living there for years, but her mother is like his sort of disciple that sort of carries out his delivers the magical evil dolls that cause families to kill each other. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Completely ridiculous.
Yeah. It's you're 100% correct. I mean, I came out of that movie feeling like it was a film. I mean, this is something that people will say, but they don't really. When they say it, they don't really know exactly what they're meaning. But this feels like a film that was written by a chatbot, by ChatGPT or something, and it's just like the prompt is like, write a scary modern horror film that combines elements of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Let's say Seven. Silence of the Lambs, and then like something supernatural like I don't know. Wow, hey, something supernatural like
Puppet Master.
No, like a serial killer thing. Like what's something where someone's like suspect
a supernatural serial killer?
No, or just like the detective has psychic powers or something. Well, you know what? Actually, Manhunter is sort of like that. Like it's sort of like he's got. It's not sort of framed as psychic power. It's framed as some kind of acute intuition or something like this. But it's not supernatural. It's not a good example. Something like
From Hell. I think the movie From Hell. They sort of? Did you read the comic From Hell?
I read the comic. I never saw the movie though.
Comic's great. It's one of my favorites. The movie isn't great, but I feel like in the comic, there's a detective and sort of he's got like a psychic assistant that's helping him with the Jack the Ripper murders. And I think in the film they combine both those characters into Johnny Depp. So he's like a detective that has like kind of psychic abilities, if I remember right.
Yeah. Maybe something like Shocker, or The First Power with
Lou Diamond Phillips.
Yeah, with Lou Diamond Phillips, where it's like the serial killer, where he's jumping bodies. He's the killer can jump into different bodies, very much like Shocker, where the killer's just jumping from body to body.
Or the Hidden.
Oh yeah, but that's like more of a science fiction.
Yeah, but it's better than all these movies you're mentioning.
We should be talking about The Hidden. Like
it's a great movie.
Oh God, it's so good. I remember the first time I saw The Hidden, and I was like, is this just an alien that's playing like GTA, but in real life? And that really is his only motivation. Like he's not really trying to do anything other than just go off mission and just fuck shit up. and I was like, if that's what this movie's about, then this is my new favorite movie. And sure enough, it turned out to be exactly what it was about. It's like he just wants to go around, listen to drive Ferraris, listen to heavy metal, and just kill people.
Go to the record store and stock up on
store.
Punk records and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Get a boombox and then beat down the fucking cashier with the baseball bat behind the fucking counter,
and then turn into a hot stripper. And
I wish that had I wish that had gone further than it did. But the first, and I don't think it's any kind of controversial thing to say that the first half of that movie is like pretty perfect. You there's no way to make it better. But then towards the end, it gets Colin MacLachlan in that movie is so fucking sick too. Like he's so funny how he doesn't really try to hide that he's an alien. It's
right.
Like, so where are you from? And he points up at the sky. And then they're like, "Oh, so you're up north?" And it's like, "No, that doesn't mean up north. What are you talking about?" Anyways, Longlegs is a fucking pile of fucking horse shit. It's so fucking stupid. Like, I couldn't even believe the kind of shit that as the movie starts to kind of,
progress.
Reveal itself to you and start to kind of dole out kind of pieces of information. You're just like, are you fucking kidding me? That's so fucking stupid. And just what they're positing as a scary, this is scary. What we're showing you right now is scary, and then it's like, no, it's not. And then you can kind of, you hear the backlash in the back of your head of people being like, oh, what do you want? Just some fucking jump scare? Oh, that's what you want. And it's like, no, I just want
even something like Manhunter, or not Manhunter, Mindhunter, the TV series. Remember that one? Even that is far superior than this. Yeah. The whatever, whatever supernatural ideas that are posited here, they're all very weak and confusing
and incongruous.
And they don't make sense. And then all the sort of real, the reality stuff, all the real stuff just feels, again, incongruous and weak, tepid. It's just also, there's all these other better serial killer films, like all the ones we've mentioned, that are watch those. Don't watch this is such a waste of time. And I guess I'm getting all worked up because of all the people that are coming out and saying that this is great and sort of throwing out the red carpet for this guy and his amazing film.
Vision.
Vision. It's just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, like that he's got that new movie coming out called The Monkey.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that, and him and Stephen King, a perfect combination. Shit and shittier.
Damn. Shots fired.
Look, I don't care. I just don't care anymore, man. I don't.
Oh no, I mean, like you got to you got to fucking call it when you see it. Call it how you see it.
And I still, it's like no more Stephen King movies. We're done. It's it.
Yeah.
Time to turn the page. Start something new. I
talked to somebody. You're gonna know who who it was. The guy who I was trying to arrange a meeting with me and you to have, but then he didn't have time for like a video chat, so he just gave me a call.
Sure.
On the regular phone. But he was involved in I think I could be wrong, but I think it's like the most recent Puppet Master, Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich. Did you ever see that? That was the one that was
The Littlest Reich?
Yeah.
No.
It was the one. No. Oh, no. I mean, yeah, like it was a script that was written by S. Craig Zoller.
Okay.
But it was a Puppet Master movie, and it was like heavy on the Nazi stuff. Like they went really far in that direction. But actually, I'm fucking up because that's not even the movie I wanted to talk about. But it's another movie that he was involved in, which was the Castle Freak remake.
Okay.
And I'm on the phone with the guy, like trying to in some way get us in to his sort of fold so that we can make a movie with him. And I'm just like, oh, dude, I got to tell you, that movie was fucking trash. Like. And I'm just like, this is something that he like work. When you work on a movie, like you put effort into it, and even if it sucks, like.
Which movie was trash?
The Castle Freak remake.
Okay.
Did you ever see it?
No, I didn't even know it existed.
Oh, it's just awful. But I tried to as soon as I said that, I was like, oh, I gotta sort of justify this in some way. Okay. So I was like, it's I'm just such a big fan of the original, and there's just this pervasive sadness that runs throughout the entire Castle Freak, the original Castle Freak. It's just like this horribly mistreated character that's mistreated to the point where he just becomes this monster. And then when he gets out, all he wants, and we talked about this before in the Castle Freak episode, all he wants is just love and intimacy, but he can't have it because I guess like either someone cut his dick off or a rat chewed off his dick or something. And he's running around just frustrated and sad and lonely and lashing out. And then it eventually just ends in even more tragedy, like in just more destruction and tragedy. And the whole thing is just such a sad story. And then the remake, they've decided to keep everything except that, they've kept and then they try to sort of make it more of a H.P. Lovecraft thing, and they try to introduce like Necronomicon stuff, and it's just like, no, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, you're throwing you have this. I mean, first of all, like, being tasked to remake such a film is daunting, and if I was offered that, you can't say no. Like, if someone's giving you like, a decent budget, I think they did that for maybe like $1.5 million or something. But if someone's giving you that much money and they're saying, yeah, do Castle Freak, a movie that you love, how do you say no? How do you say, oh, there's no way I can outdo the original? It's like, hey, you got to fucking step up and try to do something. But the way it's sort of like it's giving,
but it's all about giving the property to somebody who knows what they're doing, who respects the work, who understands it, and can do a really top-notch job, like
understanding it is the main takeaway, the main point, because
so when you give like Castle Freak to somebody who's like I don't know who they gave it to or what his credits are.
It's this guy named like Tate Steinsky or Steinbeck or some shit. He's like he's a special effects guy. Like he's mainly just a practical effects kind of technician.
Right. So he clearly he doesn't have he just doesn't have the right sensibilities.
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Now, if they gave it to me, I would fucking do it.
Yeah, well, they already did it. I mean, what are they going to do? I don't think the public is crying out for another Castle Freak remake. You know,
Castle Freak 2.
no, it's not going to happen. We missed the boat. They gave the fucking trolley came to town and the wrong guy stepped on the trolley and then the trolley went off a bridge.
Exactly.
So that's the shinola on that one.
That's that you just like put the entire show business industry in a nutshell right there.
Yep. Yeah, but yeah, okay. So fuck Longlegs. I'm gonna fucking come out and say it. If you liked Longlegs, you have some real fucking soul searching to do.
Or go see a movie, man. Go see there's so much better serial killer movies out there to watch than Longlegs. It's such a joke.
Okay, so what do we got? We got
time.
I mean, you got Silence of the Lambs. That's kind of like your gold standard, or like your
that's top of the pyramid scheme when it comes to serial killer.
Definitely
films.
top of the pyramid scheme. Then you got your Manhunter, Michael Mann's Manhunter.
Mm-hmm.
Can't go wrong with that. You got David Fincher's Zodiac.
I didn't like that one.
Yeah, I think that's. I think that the way some of the murders are handled in that one are quite good.
Or Maniac, the Joe Spinell Maniac film.
Yeah, Joe Spinell and
Lustig.
William Lustig.
There's a shit ton. I don't even know. Like, do you want to say like Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
No, that doesn't count. That's not a serial. You need to have the fucking like. Maniac
But it's
doesn't
like
count.
or
Maniac doesn't count either because
Psycho with that guy's fucking father's Norman Bates.
You're going off the rails here because we're talking about a.
You want
serial,
police? You want like
yes.
police procedural serial
Yes.
killer films? Okay,
Yes.
so you didn't say that.
No, that's part of it. Like you want that sort of the serial killer, and then you need to have like the police or federal agent, and you need to have it to be. You need
I
to
saw
have sort
that.
of a
I saw the
procedure.
devil. There's so many like great Korean serial killer films. Like I Saw the Devil
Sure.
is great.
Dr. Lam, Hong Kong film with Simon Yam.
That's great. I think there's a Korean one called Chaser that was also really good.
Bug Chaser, where there's a guy trying to have sex with guys with AIDS.
Yeah, there's this. Email me. I'll send you a list.
Yeah, go ahead and email Johnny at www.superdude.
Hit me on the gram. I'll tell you. I'll send you a list of good serial killer movies.
/babygorilla_ //
Blue Iris.
Blue Iris. And then what else is there? Yeah, so I'm just trying to think. Like, there's going to be one that like when we stop recording, I'm going to be like, oh fuck, that actually is a really good one. I even like,
Right.
you know what I like? Actually, I forget Zodiac, to be honest. When I try to think about it, I don't even really remember it that well. I just remember that one scene where the Zodiac killer kills that couple that are having a picnic, and I really like the way that the audio is handled in that scene.
There's some cool moments in the film, but I feel like when you have a serial killer movie where you don't have a real solid like we don't know who the Zodiac killer is, so it's sort of, it feels like it just doesn't. It feels like it doesn't have an ending to it. Like, how do you make a movie?
You need to have like a like part of why this thing kind of works is because you have these really interesting villains, that are have their kind of weird little thing going on.
Even it just popped into my head, the movie Copycat with I think it's called Copycat with
Harry Connick Jr.
Harry Connick Jr. where he's the serial killer. Even that is better than fucking Longlegs.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I'd rather watch Copycat with Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver, like with all the bugs in her bed. That was cool.
Sigourney Weaver taking a pee in a public toilet. What else is there? Police procedural. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of like any
Oh,
other
Seven. Seven is better.
Sure. We mentioned that one already though,
Right.
just in passing. Hey, it's me. I'm a cop, and I'm chasing a serial killer. Well, come on, what's another movie like? Oh, you know what? You know what I like? I like. I even like the Hannibal, the sequel to Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, I was
2001.
kind of disappointed with that one.
I wasn't at all.
It was a little too bloated, too silly.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I thought it was like I liked just how big it was, like in terms of just how big budget of a movie it was, and like how it was shot in like several different cities, and like it was just very. It was silly in some places, but I liked just the scope and the grandness of it, because like they just figured, damn, like Silence of the Lambs just kicked everyone's ass at the.
Did you see
office.
the? Did you watch any of the
this one
TV show?
The
Hannibal TV show.
I had some friends who'd watch that once in a while, but I never got into it myself.
I watched like an episode or two, but I had a hard time getting into it.
I don't like how they're like how they kind of and even like Hannibal does actually do this, where this idea of like sort of the the brilliant devilish mind of the serial killer, like this.
Well, I think that's what I didn't like about the Hannibal movies, like the super serial killer. Like this guy's sort of like Superman, and he just knows everything, and he can't be stopped. It felt, yeah, like I said, it just felt silly.
Meanwhile, like a real serial killer is like the guy in Limbo, or like the guy in Maniac, like Joe Spinell in Maniac. Just like some
they're just like these homeless dirtbags that like blend into the garbage, and
yeah,
like it's like you don't even notice them because they're just like just fucking human filth.
They're just kind of like sitting on the floor in a pile of their own feces, like jerking off, and just being like, "Mommy, mommy," like going like doing something like that, like something very pathetic. Whatever. Longlegs sucks. Let's move on to something else. Let's move on to another serial killer procedural film, The Night Killer.
Oh yeah. Does that qualify? I don't know.
Well, I mean, they're like kind of not really, but whatever. We're gonna just talk about it anyway. I mean, I would recommend The Night Killer over Longlegs.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In a heartbeat. Oh, by the way, what's your eggplant rating on Longlegs?
Oh, 1. Maybe even like half of 1.
No. For me, it's a 0. For me, it doesn't get anything. I'll tell you another thing is that the fire alarm in the theater went off while I was watching Longlegs, and I was so happy that happened, like right at the end, like 5 minutes before the fucking thing was over. So I just I was like, all right, now I can ask for my money back. So I went up to the lady and I was like, fucking thing ruined the ending of the movie. I was so into it, and I got my money back.
Oh, see, there's something good came out of it.
Yeah. I got to waste, 90 minutes of actually probably a movie like that is probably like 2 hours long. It's that kind of self-indulgent bullshit. There's no way that fucking asshole piece of shit. I hope I don't ever have to meet that guy. Probably will one day. But
I don't care.
What a fucking like he's a goddamn
fraud.
Goddamn pyramid scheme fucking guy. Like just pulling the wool over everyone's eyes, taking advantage of like people's stupidity.
Well, that's the other aspect, like the way that people just thought this was good, and it just like makes me question reality. Mm-hmm. Like, what planet is this? This is good. Come on.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, everybody. One of these days we'll be able to do something better than Longlegs. We just need Hollywood to give us a chance.
Yeah, we just need at least $600 million, please.
Yeah. I think I can make a better movie than Longlegs with...
Well, you already have.
Oh, that's true.
You forgot about that.
Yeah. Sometimes I think about the sadness, and I'll look at it, and I'll be like, I don't even remember how I was able to fucking do that. Like, the mind state that I was in was very. It was. I can't even put myself in those shoes again. Like, I feel like if I tried to do it again, I would fuck it all up. But luckily, I'm getting another chance.
That's good.
Yep. But sometimes that's the way. I'm not sure if you're like that. Like, for example, when I sit down to draw, when I'm thinking about sitting down to draw, I'm like, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. But then I sit down and I start doing it. And I'm like, oh, actually, I know exactly what I'm doing. That happens to me like all the time. I feel like
that happens. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I sit down and then I have an idea and I do it. Or like, there's been things that I'll like. I feel like I've already talked about this, but like reading Who Raped My Horse, like rereading it later and being like, I don't even know how I wrote this. just completely made it up as I went, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know how I did this.
You're just sitting there jerking yourself off, just fucking masturbating to your own fucking comics, just being like, I'm a genius.
That's how art gets made.
It's true. I was actually talking with about that today, like about making comics page by page with Jason Burrows, the artist for Crossed, and I mentioned you. I was like, this guy Johnny Ryan, he's he inspired me to do like a page a day comic, just to kind of.
Didn't he also do Providence with Alan Moore?
He definitely did Neonomicon. I'm not sure if he did Providence, but he probably did.
Yeah, that's a great book.
Yeah. I really like Neonomicon. I actually don't really remember. Oh, shit. Taiwanese star Barbie Hsu dies at 48 after catching influenza in Japan.
Who? Barbie Hsu?
Barbie Hsu.
Okay. Yeah. Pour one out for Barbie Hsu, everybody.
Breaking news on the Public Figures
Here's
podcast.
to Barbie Hsu.
Oh, look at that. There's two people. I'm gonna message them back. This is big Taiwanese news. She's like a big fucking Taiwanese star, apparently. I don't
she's
know who
like
she is.
Britney Spears of Taiwan.
Yeah, I think she's like the Meryl Streep of Taiwan or something.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So what else are we talking about today? Oh yeah, Night Killer. So yeah, the Night Killer is opens with that hilarious like improvisation by that dance teacher.
That actually reminded me of that other movie we watched with the cop. Remember there was the movie where the cop shoots James Earl Jones and saves that lady. And the lady is like
Deadly Hero.
And the lady is like she's like the conductress of like this completely ridiculous hit Broadway sensation. And it's just like people dancing like in a stupid manner and saxophones and pianos and it's
body
like,
paint.
Yeah, body paint, and but it's sort of like it's sort of the sort of B movie idea of like what a hit Broadway theater experience is probably like.
What do they call what do they call that? Like in the 70s or something? It's called like the body theater or like theater of the body or something like that. Or
I don't know.
Just some boomer fucking bullshit, you know. Repulsive.
But yeah, the dance sequence and the way the ladies like yelling at all these people for doing it wrong, but it's like it's like the stupidest. It's not like any kind of like crazy athletic gymnastic dance. It's just like it's just really bad.
Yeah, it's just like Backstreet Boy dancing basically.
It's even worse.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff in this film that kind of has to be seen to be believed. Like, there's a lot of things that like I am itching to do the impression of, but like.
We should probably even say that this movie was directed by the same director as the classic Troll 2.
Yeah, Claudio.
So it has that same sensibility to it. probably not like Troll 2 is sort of arguably is sort of like the top of the pyramid scheme when it comes to that type of movie. But this definitely there's plenty of that feeling here as well.
Oh, I'm 100% in favor of Night Killer over Troll 2 in terms of whatever the thing you're talking about is. Like which one I would recommend first, because at least there's like nudity, and it's Trolls 2 is made to be a kids movie,
right?
And this one is more of like this attempt at an attempt at sort of a serial killer, like an adult serial killer, hints of sort of an erotic thriller, and also like a cop procedural, but it's just a fucking mess, like just the biggest fucking mess. But like
the only reason I don't put it above Troll 2 in the sort of holy fucking shit category is that I'm still confused. Like I'm not, when I watch Troll 2, it's stupid, but I'm not confused by it. But this movie kind of confused me.
I mean, the ending confused you because you don't.
And so that kind of like makes me hesitant to put it over Troll 2.
Well, I mean I'm just not the kind of film audience member that's going to hold something like that against it, because that to me just seems like hey, I got an idea. What if instead of writing down the end, we write down the end and put a question mark after it? How about that? Like let's do that.
I'm still confused. Like I'm still like, wait, that guy was her husband? Like I'm still baffled.
Right. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about this movie. Like the thing.
But it is a trip. Like it was, like I was, like up until that point, I was thoroughly entertained.
It starts out and there's this woman and she's, I guess, a writer, and she's typing on some typewriter, and then she gets like a phone call from her husband, and you only see or her ex-husband, and you only see the back of his head, and he's like, how are you doing? And he's got this like booming, deep, hilarious voice, and she's like, I don't need you anymore, and you know what? Stop calling. And he's like, whatever her name is, Joanne, and he breaks a scotch glass in his hand. He's at a bar. It's like 9:00 in the morning, and he's like drinking at a smoky bar.
But where his bar is, it's 10:00 at night.
Right. Oh, maybe. I don't think so, because then you find out later. Well, okay, spoiler, at the very end, you find out that that's actually this guy, this weird, creepy guy named Axel, who, quote unquote, wants to be her friend. But then she goes up to the mirror, and she pulls out her tits out of her dress, and she starts caressing her tits, and she's like, well, Joanne, whatever her name is, let's say Joanne. Well, Joanne, she's
at the crossroads of her life at this point, and so she's looking in the mirror, staring, like pulled down her Flashdance sweater and is like caressing her tits,
right,
and questioning her like where she's at, her existence. Yeah, doing a State of the Union.
You really are. You really are Italian, because like it's so funny that you were able to like pick up what this scene was meant to be. Like you're seeing it through the eyes of Claudio Fragasso. Like you show this to anybody else, and they're just like, "What is she doing? Why is she doing that? Like, what is this for?" And I get it. Like she's kind of like, she's looking at herself, and she's taking a really good look at herself and right, assessing her life, and he's trying to sort of double down on that by having her get naked. This is who I am, and and that's what he's trying to do. And it's so funny to think that this is okay. Now take off your top. Okay, pull out your tits. And he's trying to like coax her into doing this to emphasize this point that he's trying to make.
But we also have to sort of say that like the state of her life currently is that she's divorced. And she has a child, and we start the movie off with like the first husband, who's the father, I guess the father of the child, comes over to pick up the kid, for whatever, the weekend or something, and she also has a second marriage. She's currently in her second marriage, which is now on the rocks. So that's why she gets that phone call from we don't know it's Axel, but she gets the phone call from a mysterious man, and he's trying to, I guess, make some sort of movement towards reconciliation, and it doesn't sound like she's having it. And then the other piece of information that is sort of like clobbered over our heads is that there's 2 phone lines in the house, and that has like it has some sort of an enormous importance, which I'm not really sure. Like the technology of the 2 phone lines, I couldn't really wrap my mind around, because it does seem to play a very pivotal part in the plot.
Yeah, it's very significant that they have 2 phone lines, because that way you can have the call coming from inside the house.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like the level of attention paid to that aspect of the film is like
Mr. Fragasso really wants you to know that they have the ability to receive a call from inside the house.
That's what's sort of like what's so funny about this guy is that like he'll spend that level of attention on this detail, for the sake of realism, but then everything else just kind of like goes out the window.
Yeah, exactly. Like the 2 phone lines at the cost of literally everything else. The night killer comes into the house. He's wearing a rubber pullover Freddy mask and a glove that has long fingernails on it that I guess are sharp enough to kill someone, even though he doesn't ever cut anyone with the nails. Usually his method by which to kill someone is just balling
sharp
up that
thrust
hand.
Through the body.
Yeah, balling that hand up into a fist and then just punching through the body.
Right.
That's what.
And then also like it's sort of implied that these are very sharp, like Freddy Krueger type blades that are coming out of his hand. But then like during chase scenes, and he would like grab a door, and you'd see the soft rubber of the hand and the claws, the soft rubber of the claws kind of like pressing against the door.
Yeah. It's it's all cosmetic. It's not meant to be anything that's a true weapon. Excuse me. What else is going on here? So she's raped and assaulted, but allowed to live by the night killer
for some reason. And we should also mention, this is a very important point of the film, the medical examiner said that he finds an inordinate amount of semen. So
the night killer, he busts super thick loads, very, very large.
They have to make that clear that an inordinate amount of semen is found on her. I don't know if it's like on her body or in her body, but when they do the rape kit on her, there's just an incredible amount of semen. They've never seen that much semen before.
Yeah, we're not dealing with a normal man here.
There's your supernatural element. He's got so much semen that it's just it confounds the medical examiner.
Peter North, the killer is. He kind of looks
like Peter North a little bit.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
But he has Peter North's attitude.
Right, it's true. He has Peter North's philosophy on life. So then we have this woman, and she's lost all her memory. She's got amnesia, and then this fucking guy shows up, and he's just this fucking weird.
But it's weird. Her amnesia is it's very
selective.
It's very selective because like she has amnesia, but at the same time she seems to be completely aware of the trauma, because then that leads her to want to commit suicide. Like it's sort of this weird conflict of like, oh, I can't remember anything, but I still remember enough to want to go to the beach and down 7 bottles of barbiturates.
Yeah, well, let's not kill the fun of the movie here, okay? Like, this is there's not like, we know that there's 2 phone lines in the house, okay? That's all we need to know.
Look, I'm pointing out these things because they're remarkably, there's just a real entertainment value. Like the way that I'm criticizing this movie is with pleasure. It's not like the type of post-mortem I just did on Longlegs, where that movie just is fucking garbage.
Yeah.
This movie is literally like one of these sort of, it's bad good.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. And I understand that. I'm just saying that, like, we could spend like 3 hours belaboring everything that doesn't make sense in this film. But I think it makes a lot more sense to talk about the scene where she goes into the changing or the bathroom, the ladies' room at the I guess at the store. Where is she? Like at a store, like a department store?
We have to back up a bit because like just everything even leading up to that is like it leads into how the ending is just completely just baffling, because like she's driving along and she's let out of the hospital after her horrible rape, even though she still has amnesia. Even though she still has amnesia, she knows how to drive her convertible fine. So she's driving her convertible around, and suddenly
you don't forget how to drive your car if you get amnesia. You still remember how to tie your shoes and stuff,
Okay, well, I'm not a doctor.
Have you ever met anyone who's ever had amnesia before?
No,
but it's not real. Nobody has amnesia ever. It's not something that actually is real.
But anyway, so she's driving around. She's got amnesia, but she has enough amnesia where she's like, this guy starts taunting her from a Jeep, and he's like, "Hey, baby." I mean, later on we learn out that that's her husband, but she doesn't know. She doesn't seem to know who he is, and he's not telling her. So he's like taunting her, and then she like pulls into some like health spa or something, and runs into the health spa to get away from him. He follows her into the health spa and like goes, and he thinks she's in the women's room. He goes into the women's room looking for her, and we still just think this guy's just like some kind of creep. We don't know that they have this connection because nobody's saying anything about the connection. So then he goes into the bathroom looking for her, and he's looking in the stalls, and then she comes out and pulls a gun on him, tells him to strip down to his underpants and throw all his clothes in the toilet and flush his clothes down the toilet. And then she's kind of like, hey, that's what happens when you fuck with me. Bye-bye. And then she leaves him in the bathroom, and then he has to run out of the bathroom almost nude. And he just immediately starts chasing her, like going out.
What does he say, though?
Something?
Yeah, what does he say? Like the clerk goes, "Hey, bud, what happened to you?" What does he say? You don't remember? He goes, "I got molested in the little boy's room."
But he wasn't in the little boy's room. He was in the girl's room.
That's true. That is true. That is absolutely true.
So he's just like, so this guy, so again, we don't know who this guy is. And he's just this sort of like, he just like automatically starts chasing her down. She, meanwhile, had just jumped back into her car, left the health spa, jumped into her car, drives to the beach, and like then she makes a buffet, I don't know that's your trigger word, but she makes a little buffet out of all her barbiturates and starts like downing her barbiturates with a little flask of booze.
Yeah.
This guy, and then we keep cutting back to the guy who's just randomly driving around town. I guess we're in Virginia Beach, right? He's randomly driving around Virginia Beach looking for her, and just by sheer luck, he sees her car parked outside the beach, pulls up, he jumps out of his car, he looks around, sees her on the beach, having her little barbiturate buffet. He just runs over there, kicks all the pills. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing? You need to drink seawater." because she's basically saving her from suicide.
How did you know that it was in Virginia? Do they say that?
Virginia Beach. It's on the cop cars.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Okay, continue. Just because I just looked up the shooting location, and you're right. It's Virginia Beach, Virginia. But go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, there was a couple little clues that tell you where it is.
You're on a fucking roll, dude. You're on fire. Keep going.
So he forces her into the sea and forces her to drink seawater, so she'll vomit up the barbiturates she ate.
Right.
And then drags her to his vehicle and drives her to a motel. And then I guess she just proceeds to force her to have sexual relations with him.
Well, hold on. He goes. Did
I miss anything?
I mean, the beauty is a lot of these lines. You know, like when he's laying on the bed and he's like, Valium, morphine, syringe, barbiturates. All the things you needed to do, all the things you needed to commit suicide, but were afraid to ask for. You know, it's like, you know, this is to the T, the Claudio Fragasso dialogue that that if he were to missay a word, cut, you know, he would stop him and have him like read it again. It has to be like to the T. You'll remember from the Troll 2 documentary that he's really a stickler that you follow his dialogue,
right?
Even though he does know how to speak English, and
right.
Claudio Fragasso is actually credited as Clyde Anderson, I believe, in as the writer and director of this film. He wants to fool everybody that this was done by an honest to goodness American. That's always very funny when that happens. What's that movie with Lance Hendrickson?
Pit and the Pendulum?
No, Italian film.
Aliens?
No. It is called The Visitor. Did you ever see that?
With
Shelley Winters is in it.
John Huston?
No. No, it's an Italian. It's an Italian financed film that is shot in Atlanta, and it stars Shelley Winters and Lance Henriksen and a few other people that you would recognize. But it's
John Huston's in it too.
Oh, okay. Really?
I remember seeing it. I don't like. He's got like I think he's like towards the end. He's got like a very small. He plays like God or something.
Oh, you actually no. You are. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, like there's a lot of like. You know who else is in that fucking movie is goddamn the director fucking Peckinpah actually is an actor in that movie as well.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
like I remember seeing it, but I have no memory of the film at all.
Oh God, it's fantastic. But the director, I can't remember the Italian director, but he's credited as Michael Paradise, which is a fucking sick alien. What do you call that? Pseudonym. But in any case, fucking Clyde Anderson, aka Claudio Fragasso, just has all these wonderful little like lines, like the fried chicken line. The guy comes in with a thing of KFC, and he's just like, fried chicken and French fries, and he sits down on the bed, and then starts engaging in kind of like some sexual play with this woman, and he's like sexily eating fried chicken in front of her, and I mean. You see, this is what I'm talking about. It's very difficult to get across why this movie is good. Right now, people are thinking like, Rob, this sounds like a fucking stupid movie, and it is.
It kind of. It is. But also we have to sort of say that like right now there's two plot lines that seem to be happening. There's this sort of like weird, like this almost feels like this weird side adventure that the main. Heroine seems to be having with this creep that just randomly kidnapped her and is like tying her up and forcing her to have sex in this motel room, and then meanwhile the sort of weird Freddy Krueger killer is still out there killing people, meeting women in bars, molesting them, killing them. He's also unlike a lot of these sort of like 80s slasher films, he's a very sexual killer. Like he has a lot of semen.
Yeah, he's got an inordinate amount of semen. But the
like he talked about how he's always talking about how horny he is.
Yeah. And by the way, he's wearing that fucking mask the whole time too. He's got that sort of rubber Freddy Krueger pullover mask on and wearing that big stupid rubber glove, and he's picking up women in just a regular bar like that, you know. It's all very confusing. But he like drowns a girl in like hot wax. It actually looks a lot like jizz, to be honest.
Yeah.
That scene. But then eventually, like, what we finally find out is that the killer is no other than the ex-husband, the guy who we saw in the beginning, the first husband, yeah, and our main character, whatever her name is, she stabs him in the penis, and then he's about to shoot her, like he's got a bloody dick that's just been stabbed, and he's like, oh God, and then he pulls out his pistol and he goes to shoot her, but then Axel busts through the window heroically, and he ends up shooting the real killer. So
but there's a great scene when there's a lot of great scenes, like when he takes her out of the like all of a sudden, like all this stuff is popping into my head. Like the guy that runs the motel is fucking amazing. That whole scene when like somebody shoots a gun in their motel room, and then the motel clerk comes and knocks on the door, and he's like, "What's all that noise?" And Axel's just kind of like, "Look, just forget about it." And he stuffs like a dollar bill in his like right behind the frames of his glasses. I'm gonna try that someday. That's like
you're gonna end up getting a fat lip because of that.
Look, if somebody's wearing glasses, they ain't gonna do shit. You know what I'm saying?
He's getting no, that's true. He's a nerd.
He's a nerd, and he kind of gets like thrown around a little bit by the cops too. But they, for whatever reason, they leave the motel room, and while Axel's making a phone call and the woman makes a run for it, and she's running down the street, and Axel starts chasing after her, and meanwhile, again, another scene of somebody just driving around randomly Virginia Beach looking for her, and just happens to find her, picks her up. It's her first husband finds her, picks her up, and drives off. And we see Axel coming at, chasing after them, and his scene of just sort of like, no, is the pain of like her getting away from him is like, he really plays it to the hilt. Yeah,
he's quite the performer. You gotta, some of those scenes, especially like the motel room scene. You just gotta give it to these actors, for putting up, like, going through that whole thing and just being kind of like, yeah, I mean, this is what we're getting paid to do. Like, these are professionals, these are like
really. It seemed like this was like a sort of a local Virginia Beach crew. Like, this is like the best of the best actors that Virginia Beach has to offer.
Well, hold on a second here, because that woman.
Is somebody?
Yeah, she's the mom in Silent Night, Deadly Night. She's the mom who gets her throat cut and her top ripped open by the Santa Claus.
I didn't know that.
Well,
I didn't know she was a huge star.
She is. Hold on a second here. Oh, it's called. By the way, it's called Night Killer, not The Night Killer. Tara Buckman. I wanted to see if she is. I mean, she's from Pensacola, Florida.
Okay.
Okay, well, hold on a second. I wonder if Silent Night, Deadly Night was shot in Virginia as well. Night, Deadly Night, shooting location. Because then she would have been there. Like, then you would be right? Or at least location. Oh, no, that was shot in Utah. So they fucking bust her in.
Nice.
They bust her into, for her talent, Tara Buckman. She's still alive, 68 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man,
Where she live, Virginia Beach?
No, I don't know. She's probably, where the fuck would she live? Does it say? Early life, career, early life. She was a waitress in a hotel dining room in Norfolk, Virginia. Oh, maybe she was there.
See?
But that was in 1974. 3 months later, she moved to Los Angeles. And then, no. Yeah, there you go. Sure, her family, she was born in Pensacola, but she mostly lived in Virginia.
See?
What do you mean, see?
I told you.
Okay. No, Virginia Beach.
I'm like,
Virginia Beach.
Like, I'm sure,
finest.
look up all these people. I'm sure that they're all like local talent.
All right, fuck. You know what? I will. That's what this podcast is going to be. It's going to be me searching on Wikipedia. Oh shit, Harry Bromley Davenport.
Who was he? The first husband or the second husband?
No, it's nobody. That's just the guy.
Axel.
No, that's the guy who. Peter Hooton, I believe, was Axel. Damn it. Oh, there he is. Yeah. So where is he from? Doctor Strange, Mod Squad. He was on Mannix. Personal Life.
He was in Doctor Strange or Doctor Strange Love.
No, he was in Doctor Strange, like some TV version of Doctor Strange that no one remembers. Poor guy is dead.
Damn.
Oh wait, no, he's not dead. He's still alive. He's 74
thank
years
God.
old. Yeah, I know. I was really worried about that, but it doesn't say anything about Virginia. It says that as of 2009, he's lived in Sarasota, Florida. He's
It's only a hop, skip, and a jump away.
But you're not letting me finish. Prior to that, he lived in New York City and also Connecticut. And also St. Augustine, Florida as well.
Nice.
So he, you're right. He could have just been bussed in. He could have been bussed in for his role as Axel in The Night Killer. Anyways, yeah. This is one of those things that's like, what do you talk about with this film? You have to just kind of watch it. This is what you fucking say about Night Killer. It's funny. It's a sort of a so bad it's good sort of thing. I don't really believe in that particular phrase because if
I don't have
good,
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I think this is actually a perfect example of something that's so bad it's good. Like
you use it as a way to describe something rather than me actually believing in that sentiment. I think that this is good. Like, it's entertaining. I think it keeps you engaged. For better or for worse. There is also that kind of like. It's not trying to be funny. It just is funny, just by virtue of what it is.
And there's also just a certain level of incompetence,
right?
That like when we're talking about that scene where like she's looking in the mirror, like she pulls her sweater down, and like there's this like Fragasso's idea, like this is his idea of like what it is to be an American. This is what Americans do. This
is what his idea to be an American woman is.
Yeah, it's like you whip your tits out and then have these heart-to-hearts with yourself. Like those moments are just like so silly. You can't help but you're both entertained and shocked that somebody would give money to somebody to make this film with that level of this level of I'm speechless.
Well,
this level of like it's
just saying incompetence. You want to say incompetence. You're just trying to think of a different word.
It's not necessarily like he's, he clearly, he knows how to, like, he's holding the camera and he's got like he's work, but just like
he's holding the camera, he's wearing pants.
Yeah, he's not like completely retarded, but but it's just like he seems to be sort of like out there.
Yeah, he's just a weird kind of, I would even say like, Fulci's a lot like this too. It's just that his sort of quirky perception of reality happens to sort of correspond a little more easily with a normal perception of reality,
Yeah.
But they're both kind of guys who are just kind of like no, it has to be this way, And
but also just like this whole like Fulci would never do this thing where like this whole like there's this whole twist that Fragasso's building here where like the guy that has kidnapped the main woman, whatever her name is, what'd you say her name was?
Oh, it's actually Melanie. I've been calling her Joanne the whole time.
Melanie is her husband, and even though he's sort of treating her like shit and tying her up and abusing her, and he never, like, there's no mention from either of them that they're married. Like, it's just like it's some kind of like weird game that they're playing, or maybe I don't really understand. It's such an enormous, like, it just doesn't make sense. It's so confusing. And I feel like that's not something Fulci would just be like, he would also be like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that like Fulci would let go for not making sense, but it has a lot, as far as character stuff is concerned, it kind of has to make sense with him. But other
like, even if you look at something like Devil's Honey, like it all, there's probably like little plot holes here and there, but like this one is such a huge gaping hole that it's just like you can't, and it's like the whole movie sort of like is built around this huge gaping hole. Like, surprise, this guy is actually your second husband. It's just like silly.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I'm going to give this a pretty high score because I do think it's something that is...
You think it's better than, like, say, Delirium?
Would I rather watch this than Delirium?
Because you gave Delirium a surprisingly low score. I
give it like a 2.5, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a 3 for me, so it is better than Delirium. I'd rather watch this than Delirium.
Really? I think Delirium is like, it's got that sort of like holy fucking shit feeling to it, but it feels more competent.
Yeah,
and it's still odd. It's still like weird. It's still off in some way, but it still makes sense.
Do you think that it's, I guess, like, in the grand scheme of things, like, sometimes, like, getting very close to competence but not quite getting there and not doing it on purpose, like, kind of just it just being something that happens while making an effort in earnest is actually, like, very rare and valuable. There's plenty of people who are, like, competent, and there's tons and tons of people who are incompetent, but, like, getting on that fine line is very special. It's kind of, what it's like that band Mortician. Like, I like that band Mortician because they almost suck, but they don't, because, like, they're just like the music that they make is just barely art. Like, if it were a slightly less artful, it just would be a couple idiots just being stupid, and it would, no one would pay any attention to it at all.
I love Mortician. It's like one of my favorites.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't know. It's hard to. I don't know. I feel like that's not a great example. It's hard to qualify music in the same way as a film.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. Like the guys in Mortician clearly know what they're doing, and they're not sort of Tommy Wiseau kind of incompetent in that way.
Right.
That they're not like Corey Feldman. Like a good comparison would be like Corey Feldman, but in this case, you're not actually enjoying the music. Whereas with Mortician, you are enjoying the music. I guess what I'm trying to sort of make a comparison to is like, you know, when something is sort of it really isn't. It really isn't the same thing. A better comparison would be something like something that's like a lot more like technical and accomplished, like Cannibal Corpse. That would be like Blood In, Blood Out, and then the more boneheaded version would be Mortician, and that would be American Me. You know, but so like because it's like the same thing, but like one is just a lot less interested in being artful. So in fact, none of what I'm talking about really relates to the Night Killer at all. But I think maybe Corey Feldman is, yeah, right.
So Night Killer, like Night Killer, you know, I do enjoy going on those sort of trips of like this. Who's ever making this is completely fucking out of their mind, and you don't know where it's going to go. I feel like if he almost like if he had let go of the sort of like surprise, it's the husband who's, you know, and as if the guy that kidnapped Marissa, is that the character's name?
Melanie.
If the guy that kidnapped Melanie was just a random dude who kidnapped her and fell in love with her and then saved the day, I feel like that would have been far more both far more satisfying and more like holy fucking shit than hey, this guy that you thought was just some random creep that kidnapped Melanie is actually her second husband, you know, and not only was he her second husband, it also turns out that he was like a cop too.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually is better when, you know, when you resist the temptation to try to be clever, you know, just don't try to be so clever, everybody. Just
like, did you ever see that movie Dangerous Men? Do you know the movie I'm talking about?
No.
It's kind of in keeping with what I'm saying. It's probably arguably one of the legendary, like, holy fucking shit films. I feel like I want to rewatch it. Maybe we can talk about that at some point. It's not a horror movie.
It's like it's one of these like Iranian.
Not Iranian. It's American.
No. I know, but it's like Samurai Cop. It's like it's directed by an Iranian, so it has that kind of just bizarre kind of sensibility to it. Yeah, it looks fucking sick. I'm looking at a trailer right now with the volume down. In a nutshell, irreverent, thrilling, and gripping. All right.
It's worth seeing.
So, I'm all about that kind of stuff. Like, you know, because let me tell you something, Johnny. I like to laugh. I like to have a nice belly laugh. Miami Connection. What was that? The Miami Connection. You ever see that film?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's a nice, wonderful film to laugh to with your pals. What else is there? Is there anything else like that?
Birdemic?
Yeah, I don't like that one. That one I think is stupid. There's nothing redeeming about Birdemic. I think it's just sort of cheap and crappy. And I think that the guy who made it, like, was trying to be funny.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't remember much of it, but I do remember it was ridiculous.
Yeah. So you got that. What else is there? I can only think of Miami Connection. I can think of like The Room, the one that everyone knows.
Sure.
And that's about it. That's all I can think of in terms of those kinds of movies. Samurai Cop is another good example, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, and then you also have all those Sidaris films.
Oh yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
At least like I've only seen like the first few,
Yeah.
but yeah, those first two, fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Well,
Malibu Connection and Malibu Express and
Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Hard Ticket to Hawaii, two classics.
Sure.
I would have done I would have done a little bit more research if I knew that was going to be on the table.
Oh, what do you think we were talking about today?
And no, I never know what we're talking about until I turn on the camera.
Yeah, that's that's the.
Sometimes
beauty of
I
the
think
show.
we're going to talk about something, and then we don't, and then yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the way. It's never going to change.
Like
It's
we
always
could
gonna
have, like I thought, like we could have been talking about Untold Story 2. I didn't know.
Yeah, but what is there to say about Untold Story 2 other than it's not as good as the first one? And like, do we really want to spend time talking about those characters? Like, who gives a shit? Like,
I don't know. I follow your lead. Like, if you were like, I want to talk about this, I've been like, all right.
Yeah, I do like that guy. The one thing that I liked about Untold Story 2 is that the guy with the red leather jacket,
Sure,
and the fake teeth. That was just like, oh yeah, that guy was like, I've seen this fucking film before, and it's about this fucking bitch from the mainland. Like, that's the way they're gonna do it. It's gonna be this mainlander Chinese that's causing all the trouble.
it shouldn't have even been called Untold Story 2. It should have just been called something else.
Yeah,
like,
well,
there's no other than Anthony Wong is also in this, but he's not. Like, he's just a sort of like a stupid, absent-minded cop. He's not playing that same Untold Story role. I was even surprised that he was in it.
They're very, very unscrupulous with titling stuff in Asia. If they, it's just like in Italy, right? It's this is a Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3, and it's like they just that's that.
Or actually, Zombie Part 5.
You know what? Actually, they Night Killer was actually released in Italy as some kind of sequel, like maybe Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
No, it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, if I'm not mistaken. So like they do that in
Virginia Beach Massacre.
Yeah, they do that in Asia as well. Let's just call this Untold Story 2 or whatever, and they have no problem doing that. Even with like foreign films, like I think in Chinese the translation for Terminator is like the way that, not the translation, but what they called the film was Devil Terminator. That's what they called the fucking James Cameron Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator film. So it's called Devil Terminator. And then every film that Arnold is in after that, they'll be like Devil Terminator and then something else. So it's like,
Devil Terminator on Mars.
Devil Terminator on Mars, seriously, is probably close to what they call Total Recall. And then the same thing with
Kindergarten Devil Terminator.
same thing with Matt Damon with the Bourne Identity. It's called it's like God Ghost Identity was the Bourne Identity, something like that. And then every single film with Matt Damon, it's the same thing. It's like God Ghost, and then
God Ghost bought a zoo.
Yeah, or God Ghost fucking God Ghost Identity.
God Ghost versus Private Ryan.
Yeah, what's that fucking movie where he's like Goodwill Hunting? Like God Ghost Identity goes to school or something. Like it would be. So like
he becomes like Ernest.
Yeah, exactly. He's like Ernest. And then also another thing too that's funny is that when they show movies on TV, on basic cable, there's absolutely no respect for the movie as to where they put the commercials. Like usually like in the States, like they'll wait for like a lull in the movie to put a commercial, but they'll when you watch TV in Taiwan, it'll be like right in the middle of like an important scene, and someone will be in the middle of conversation, and they just cut and they put the commercial. Like whoever's making those decisions has zero respect for.
Well, that's when people are watching TV. They're like right in the middle, like they're glued. They're like watching, like, oh, this is an important moment. Like this is where we put the commercial.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's the tampon commercial. Oh, here's another thing too. I watched that movie Emilia Pérez last night. Finally.
Oh yeah, finally.
Yeah, finally.
I've been waiting for this day.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time coming. You know, I've been hearing all sorts of great things about Emilia Pérez.
How'd it go?
It's one of the funnest movies to make fun of. Like the whole time while we're watching it, I'm just like making up my own songs and like and having a grand old time watching Emilia Pérez.
What's better, Emilia Pérez or Night Killer?
Oh gosh, probably. Yeah, I mean, like I would definitely recommend Night Killer over Emilia Pérez because yeah, I don't like. It's you kind of have to see this fucking movie. This movie Emilia Pérez, like it's almost on the same level as, you know what? It's almost on the same kind of level as Night Killer. Like it's such a complete fucking like misestimation, you know, like as to like what it's trying to do. But then at the same time, it's this clearly like expensive sort of movie that they decided to make, but just all these decisions that, like, even the fact that it's a musical, the songs are so fucking stupid, and you're kind of like, this has to be a joke. Like there's no way that they made this and they didn't intend for this to be a joke. And I don't know, like I almost I would almost fuck that. I'm going to go on record and say Rob Jabaz recommends Emilia Pérez because it's such a. But I mean, just because it's such a completely
number one
movie.
Comedy of the year.
honestly, like you gotta fucking see this movie in the same way that Night Killer has to be seen to be believed. You have to see this fucking Emilia Pérez movie. It's a fucking complete disaster. But it's also very compelling. It's not like something like Wicked. Something like Wicked you put on and you're just like, fuck this shit, turn it off. It sucks, you know.
Did you watch Wicked?
I tried, but it's just so stupid and so fucking
I don't
heavy-handed.
know if I can go there.
No, I mean like Emilia Pérez over Wicked any fucking day of the week, because like at least Emilia Pérez like has some fucking it has like some like the balls to be, or maybe it's not balls, maybe it's just like complete sort of lack of self-awareness. Like it just does stupid shit and you're just like, I can't believe that they're doing a song about this, or I can't believe that this is how they're going to handle this issue when they just handled that issue that way. Like it's a complete like tonal disaster. So yeah, I mean, it's not a good movie. I would never put this on. Like, I would never pay to see this. But like, if you put it on while you're doing something else,
it has like 49 Academy Award nominations or something.
Oh, I mean, that's completely ridiculous. Like, literally, that's like Night Killer getting Academy Award nominations. Like that's like looking at fucking Melanie's the actress who played Melanie and being like, oh yeah, we need to give her. What a harrowing performance. It's literally the same thing. Like that's about the same level of what's going on here, you know? But so yeah, big Emilia Pérez recommend from your friend Rob Jabaz.
Oh, see, now I want to watch it.
Yeah. So what was your rating for fucking Night Killer then?
I'd give Night Killer maybe 2.5.
Yeah, okay, fine. That's good.
Like it's definitely entertaining. Like it was a trip. Like I was just like, where the fuck is this going? I was disappointed by Fragasso's attempt at a twist and wrapping up that twist. I wish he had kind of just even gone more off the rails.
Yeah, well, okay. Thanks a lot for listening to our episode. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.